This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate tonight to have one of my good friends in state politics with us, Mr. Jeremy Oden, who, by the way, folks, is the youngest elected statewide office holder in the state at 45 years old. He is a member of the Public Service Commission, elected statewide, and prior to his election to the Public Service Commission last year to a full term, he was a member of the state legislature for 3 terms. From Cullman and Blount counties, and his family's been in that area a long time. And we want to welcome Jeremy Oden, Public Service Commissioner, place number 1, to the show today. And Jeremy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. I appreciate it very much.
I think we had you on last year or so ago, and our viewers may not remember this, but you and Dr. Bentley, our governor, were really close friends in the legislature.
Oh, yeah. We spent 3 terms, and then I had 2. Actually, I was elected to 4 terms in the State House, but while he was over there, yeah, we were very good friends. We always went out to eat together and had our conversations and discussed the issues together with each other. So.
You know, I had Mike Jones on the show. You served with young Mike. And
yes, he was a freshman my last service. So
he told, you know, that's the thing. It reminded me of my time in the legislature, and people would ask me, what do you miss most about it? I miss the friendships you make.
Yeah.
You know, you make lifetime friendships. He was telling me he and John Merrill developed a real close friendship. John is now Secretary of State, as you know. And he said they just happened to be sitting together during orientation. Then they wound up sitting next to each other as House members,
right.
and serve, and then the office just by accident.
Yeah, and I've got several of those connections. You know, I guess one of the most memorable people I've ever served with was John Hawkins. I think
you sat close to Mr. John.
Yeah, John was a great leader of the state. He was in there for quite a while, and then you had some bigger names who've gone on, like J.E. Turner and
I served with all those guys.
Representative Ford. You know, I got
Joe.
To serve. Joe was excellent. I got to serve my freshman year.
All those are my best friends.
So yeah, and so but then I become one of the older guys, I guess.
All those guys.
Billy appointment. So
all those guys you mentioned. Let me tell you how far back John Hawkins went, Jeremy.
Oh yeah.
He was a state senator when I was a page in the 1960s.
Yeah,
that's how far back he went.
Yeah.
And you know, he and Jabbo went back that far.
Yeah, Jabbo is he goes back that
Jabbo
far.
Wagner goes back as almost as far as John Hawkins does.
I guess the oldest serving Republican is Victor Gadsden.
Victor and I came
Speaker
together.
pro tem now.
We came together in '82.
Yeah.
We were what you call classmates.
Right.
In the class of '82.
So Victor is still over there. So Arthur Payne had a long service.
And Arthur had been there.
He resigned out this past year. But you meet those guys, and those guys, I see them. Steve, I see them still in some. I get to go to all of the meetings and all the association meetings and stuff, and those guys are in there. So it's always good, and it's always a good conversation. You know, when you run up and talk to some of them.
Jeremy, you know who I sat by. I had a little group, and they sat us almost geographically. Seth sat behind me.
Oh, really?
Seth Hammett and Jack Venable. Did you ever serve with Jack Venable?
Yes, I served with Jack, until he died.
Jack Venable and Seth Hammett were best friends. Did you know that?
Yeah, sure did.
They were best friends, and they sat right there, and Jimmy Holly sat to my left, and Mr. Pete Turner from Auburn sat to my right. Now, Mike Hubbard followed Pete Turner in that House seat in Lee County. I know Mike Hubbard's probably done a lot of good things for Lee County, but I swear, Jeremy, nobody did anything more. For 40 years, every vote Mr. Pete cast was cast with an eye toward helping Auburn University. And they'd have one thing named for him over there, but I watched him get so much money for Auburn. And by the same token, I watched Jimmy Holly. He is, to me, one of the most effective legislators. He sat there.
Still today,
he
very
is.
effective.
He actually was so astute on the bills that I watched him get a whole new school system available one day.
Yeah. Well, we had, Mike and I came in together.
You and Mike Hubbard.
Yeah, we came in '98 together. So I didn't get to serve with Pete, but I did with Jack, and
You came
of
in
course
the year I
Senator
left.
Holly's still there, so
Yeah.
you know he was in there.
You came
so.
in the year I left, so I never
I
got to
came in.
serve with you.
That's exactly
Uh-huh.
right. 98. And you know, you're talking about Seth and Jack. You know, Jack was Seth's rules
That's right.
up
Yeah.
until he died. So
That's appropriate because they were inseparable. Seth has now served in a lot of different capacities. He's Bentley's chief of staff.
right. Yes.
Talking about
Acting.
that, talk about that, Jeremy. You know, Bentley obviously made a lot of friends in the House too. The whole cabinet's made up of his friends from the legislature.
Yeah, but there's some that's not.
Matt, well, think about it. Let's name him. Matt.
You don't
He
have
appointed you to that open seat in the Public Service Commission.
PSC, but that was an appointment. Then really, he doesn't have as many served with him in cabinet positions as you think.
Spencer
you got
Collier.
Spencer, you got Mac Gibson,
And Thigpen.
and then you got William Thigpen. They both did ABC.
Yeah.
But really and truthfully, that's about it on the
Yeah.
higher cabinet level.
That's pretty good, though, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy, let me tell you.
But he was you have to understand the way the governor worked in the House is really the way he works as governor. You're not going to hardly see anybody really talk bad about the man because he's not bad. You know, he's a very good guy. He knows people, and that's the biggest thing about the governor now is he knows people. You know, he knows how to talk to them. He's got that bedside. I call it that bedside manner that he has, and so he's very likable guy. So.
What made y'all become good friends? Would y'all sit close to each other or something?
Well, actually, I don't mind telling you, it was the tax package that came in.
The first year.
The first. Did
y'all vote for it or
Governor
against
Riley's
it?
tax package. We were all against it.
Oh, okay.
We were all against
So y'all
it.
can say y'all voted against it.
There's a very few of us that was. You know, as the Republicans, we were. Against it, and there's
Did
about
Riley call y'all
8 to 10
down there and want y'all to vote for it?
Oh yeah, you know, every governor does that. You know, I sort of chuckled at some of the news just lately about some representatives on there, but I don't think there's a governor that ever had called a representative over to his office.
Well,
how many times did you get called over?
Well, Wallace was going. He doggone sure called us down there.
So I got to serve under 3 governors, and I hadn't. I've been in the office on all 3 of them.
Wallace knew how to do it, but he called you down there. He explained things to you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the story.
I love those governor explanations too. You know, for some reason you get in that seat and you'll say, "Well, now, Representative, can I call you Jeremy?"
Yeah.
You know, so,
Can
I think all the three I did that. You know,
Jeremy, have I ever told you one about Noopy Cosby?
Noopy Cosby.
Have I ever told you one about Noopy?
I don't know. There's so many out there on Noopy. I don't know if I can.
Let me tell you one that was one of the funniest experiences I've had. And it's sort of like right now. And when I got there in '82, Wallace is my first term in the House and Wallace's last term as governor. And Wallace really was a New Deal Democrat. He was a progressive. Mm-hmm. He believed if you were out of money, just raise taxes. It didn't mean anything to Wallace. He wasn't skin off his teeth. Not like Bentley, who's having to hold his breath and say, "Look, I hate to do this, but I mean this is the way it is." Wallace, he cherished it. He just thinks if you're out of money, just raise taxes. Well, we were coming every day. Holly sat right here, and Jim Pruitt from Talladega sat right by him. We both were freshman House members, and Holly had been there for a term. Anyway, every day we voted for a new tax, and Wallace had made me and Pruitt floor leaders. I was Wallace's representative from Barber County.
Oh.
I had Barber in my district, so I was Wallace's, had his county, and so I was obviously trying to work with him. And Pruitt had been helping him with his campaigns for years from over there in Talladega. So me and Pruitt were his floor leaders, and we were voting for all these taxes. They were called revenue enhancement measures. He was raising driver's license fees one day.
Oh, wow.
And this and that, and really taxing the heck out of Mobile Bay. Anyway. Got down to a gasoline tax, and I told Holly, I said, "Holly, have you voted for all these taxes?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Holly, I'm getting off the wagon on that. I just can't vote for any more of this stuff. I'll never get reelected." I said, "I voted for six or seven new taxes." I said, "I'm voting against."
So you jumped the wagon.
I said, "I'm fixing to leave on this gas tax," and I think Pruitt may have gone too. I don't know why. But Wallace called us down there, Jeremy, in a group of us.
Was that the 4 cents gas tax?
I don't know how much it was. I wasn't going to vote for it. I was tired of paying taxes. But it was, all gas taxes are earmarked for roads. Mm-hmm. And so it was to build roads for Wallace's road program. Well, you'd have to been there to really get the grasp of how funny this was, the gravitas of it. But me and Pruitt are down there for some reason. It sort of confuses Wallace. He had about 15 down there, and he had us at like a hot box.
Yeah.
He was going to tell them how bad they were for not voting for his taxes. And Noopy had not voted for the first tax. Noopy calls it himself. I didn't ever know what Noopy's real name was. I thought he was born with Noopy.
William Francis.
Yeah. We were called, I didn't thought.
No, Noopy.
I'd known him since I was in college with him, Jeremy. We were at the University of Alabama together, and I said, that's Noopy. Anyway, we're down there, and Noopy hadn't voted for the first tax. And Wallace zeroed in on Noopy, and you'd have had to been there to see it, Jeremy. It was first thing. You know, Wallace was a little bit incoherent his last term because he was on medication.
Right. I think I may have heard Noopy tell this story.
But I was there. He says in that deep black belt accent, he says, now, Nudie, let me explain this to you, Nudie. When I was a young legislator from Barber County, I had me a road program, Nudie. Now, Nudie, you need a road program. Now, Nudie, if I lived over there in Selma, my road program would be Highway 80. That's a very dangerous highway. It's a murderous highway, Nudie. You have a murderous highway over there at Highway 80. Now, Nudie, let me explain the way it works, Nudie, up here now. Nudie, you're going to have to get you a road program. And Nudie, when you get you a road program, and then you vote for the gasoline tax, then your road program will be part of my road program. But Nudie, let me explain this to you the way it works here, Nudie. If you don't vote for the gasoline tax, then I'm afraid your road program won't be part of my road
program. And I see, I haven't. That's what I was talking about. Governors, you know, every one of them comes in there and says, "Hey, you know, you don't get. This is my issue, and your issue is connected with my issue."
Exactly.
So when that come out, I sort of chuckled a little bit about the governor stuff. So, but yeah, and you and I have dealt with our share of governors that's done that. But it's a tough game. It'd be a tough sell on anybody, especially the way it is.
Jimmy, now you grew up over there, it's right at Blunt and Coleman County.
Actually,
line.
I'm on Morgan and Coleman County line, right on Eva. Eva is
Morgan. Okay,
is Morgan.
Did you have Morgan in your district?
I live on the Coleman. Yeah. Yes.
But you live on the Coleman side. You're born and raised in Coleman.
My back line to my pastor is the county line.
And you're a pastor and a farmer too.
Well, yeah. What I do really on the pastoral side, I've got my ordained ministry. I don't hold a church, so either right now I'm serving on the board of elders, where I'm an independent right now. Come from the Methodist Church, and we're independent.
Thought you meant,
now.
yeah.
So,
so when you first left, you were in your 20s, weren't you?
Yes, I was I wasn't the youngest, but I was one of the youngest elected representatives in '98. We had several other. We had one. We had Earl Hilliard Jr. From Birmingham, and he was the youngest when we got elected in '98. And then Todd Greason, from DeKalb County, he was the next, and then I was the third.
He lost that Senate seat, but you think he may come back around again?
I don't know. I have no idea. You know, if he's smart, maybe not.
Jeremy, so you were serving there, and
these guys have got it tough this time. It's tough, and I want to say that my hat's off to any of them that are serving right now. It's a tough situation.
Well, how'd you like running statewide last time?
It's a new experience. The thing about it is, you know this, Steve. You get in there in the House side, and you know your district. You know how how this little town's going to go. You know who to go talk to. Say, hey, this is coming up. What do you think about that? But then when you include 67 counties and thousands of miles within those counties, it's a whole different story. You know, Huntsville's not the same as Mobile.
No,
and
it's a long way
and they're far apart.
That's a long way to drive.
So you've got to pull back a little bit and rethink some of your political thinking, because different areas think different. So that's one of the things that I had to learn as far as going across the state. One of the things I enjoyed, Steve, was I've been all over this country. But Alabama has got some of the prettiest places you have ever seen.
It really is.
And some that you get off, if you get off of those major interstates and get on some of these state highways or local roads, I mean, they're just gorgeous. You go through some gorges and stuff that you think would be in Colorado or somewhere like that, and they're in Alabama, or you get into some of them northeast hills up there. You think you may be in the Carolinas, you know, or something like that. And then you go down south, and you got the beautifulest. We got some of the prettiest beaches you've ever seen.
We do.
And so I loved that, Steve. I really did, especially statewide. And the people are all, you got one overall mentality of Alabamians, and that is, come on in and let's talk. You know, a lot of people don't say that, but I had never come across anybody,
even in urban
areas, that says, you know, let's talk about this. Now, we may not fully agree on the subject matter, or we may not, you know, agree on the outcome of that conversation, but I never was turned away anywhere I went. It's always was an open door. It's always sit down and let's talk. And boy, you go into some of these local diners, and I call them the local eating spots, and sit down, and it's amazing how much conversation you can have. They sit there and talk to strangers. I went into one, West Alabama, I can't think the name of it. It was a little mom and pop, a little hamburger joint. Sat down there, and by the time I was through, I talked about 15, 16 different people in there, but not one of them didn't say, hey, you don't need to be here or anything. It was all open. And that, if you want an overall opinion of Alabamians, it is that little open door type thing. Come
that was
on
one
in,
thing.
let's have a conversation.
Two things you came away from is you realize what a beautiful natural state we have, and second, how friendly the people are.
Yeah, and they are very friendly. Like I said, now some of them you may not agree on the issue together. But they never did turn around. Even when you disagreed heavily with them, they still shook your hand and said, well, now you can come back and talk anytime you want to.
Jeremy, did many of them, how many were you surprised or not surprised, how many even knew what the PSC did?
Nobody knew what
it was. Like 5 to 10%? Was it that low?
You know, 95% of my campaign was explaining what I did.
They didn't know
what it was.
95% didn't know what the PSC
so,
did.
you know, and that's a big estimate, but a lot of people just really don't understand.
Well, tell our viewers then what the Public Service Commission does.
We
the
are,
three of y'all, to explain how you elected.
Right. We are a 3-member commission. We are set up by the legislative body. Actually, it was set up in the 1800s.
As a railroad
commission.
As
a railroad commission. And we protected the railroads at that time because that was your mass transit. That was your way of getting to places. And so we really, the PSC really kept the, quote, railroad barons in check. All right, so that mentality was there. And then in the 30s, we got utility companies. 40s, we got gas. And then 50s and 60s, we got the trucking industry. Then we got the telephone industry, and then if you were a water system or another utility maybe that was privately owned, then we go over that. And that's pretty well a summation of what we do.
But now you don't have trucking anymore.
Federal government come back around in the late 90s.
You got AT&T, you got telephone anymore.
So we got telecommunications removed pretty well from
Nothing
us.
to do with phones. He don't regulate the phones.
We still do the little landlines. So if you got a landline, then we still do it. But we don't do anything with the cellular. We don't do anything with a bundled package. You know, a lot of people know what that is now. If you get TV, internet, and phone and cell phone all together, we don't touch those. But those sort of have went away, but the utility side has really and truthfully increased.
Gas and electricity.
Gas, electricity. We're the regulator for Alabama Power. You know, they're the largest corporation. They're the largest publicly owned utility. And so if you are in that category, then we're going to regulate it. It so happens that Alabama Power is really our only one that we really and truthfully regulate on the power
though,
side.
Jeremy,
now, the gas, we've got 2 others. So.
What people don't realize, though, is the power company is not the entire state. You got TVA.
Exactly. In the north, you've got TVA. We do not touch any TVA.
Right. And in
in
some
the south, you got Power South in the far south. You've got some municipalities that own their own systems.
Dothan, Troy,
a lot of the southeast arena over there.
Tuskegee has their own, I think.
Yeah. And so we don't touch those. But what people don't understand is we set, just by the policies and stuff we do with Alabama Power, most of those entities look at what we're doing with them. And so we may not be their regulator or anything, but we make the voice for energy in the state.
Speaking of that, Jeremy, let's take some time to tell our viewers and talk, because you've been one of the leaders in this thing. All three of y'all have, you and Twinkle especially, with Beaker just coming on this year, but he seems to be inclined to think the same way. Alabama has really been bombarded with this EPA stuff.
Sure.
I mean, and tell our viewers exactly what the Obama administration has done to Alabama and our environmental protection thing, and what they've done to the coal companies in the state, the coal miners, and how that involves rate structure. If you would, take your time with that.
It comes with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. That's what everyone knows them as. And what has happened in the last 15 years, they've passed two major rulings.
By administrative act.
By administrative act.
By Obama.
One of them was, the first one to went in effect went around 2004 and 5, and it was called the MATS ruling, or Mercury Air Transmission Standards. So that's MATS. So what happened on that is they had to control the mercury emissions in their plants and stuff. So that began a focus in on what's coming really and truthfully out of that stack, you know. And so then when Obama came into office, even prior to, even as a senator, he was very heavy into the carbon sequester and carbon climate change type stuff. And then when he moved into president, he made it one of his focuses. And that is what has happened. The EPA has come out what we call the Clean Power Plan. The official decision is not done yet. It's going to be late summer when they come out with the final ruling. But we have been involved, President Kavanaugh and I have been involved on the national level. Matter of fact, I was just in Washington 3 weeks ago, and I spent a whole entire week testifying really at NARUC, which is our thing, and then we went before FERC, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and transmission stuff. People don't realize that with these two rules, basically the attack was on our coal fired plants, our energy production as far as coal. And the power companies have to come in, and they had to do a big, huge capture program on mercury, which was extremely expensive. And so we are starting to see that now, and this is how it relates to who we are and the power companies. We're starting to see that cost now being put upon what your power bill runs a month. And so we're trying our best to keep it just as low as we can, and that's my job, to keep it as low rates as we can. The Clean Power Plan is the new plan that's coming in, and it's not started to affect, but if we do what they want us to do, if we do what the EPA wants us to do.
So we, as far as Alabama?
Alabama Power, the utility productions in this country, it's going to increase our electricity costs upwards of 30%. It's going to be amazing. And it's really and truthfully an attack directly on coal, Steve. They want coal production either so sequestered with that coming out of there that it's so costly that it's not cost effective. Okay, and they want us to switch to gas and alternative energy and that type of avenues. Well, those avenues are okay, but they're still very, very expensive. You know, gas is not. Gas is cheap, but the conversion and getting that gas to those plants, the transmission of that's just not quite there yet. And people don't realize that what's fixing to happen. But we have done I think a tremendous job in the public service of educating, the people on what's happening with the EPA. All three of us, if we are public, if we're speaking somewhere, we're explaining exactly what I'm explaining to you today, is that these standards, bottom line, is going to increase your power bill. And what we have to do is go in there as regulators, and we have to look at the company and what they're doing in these environmental concerns and make sure that it's just not skyrocketing those bills. And so, but this is not only an Alabama problem, Steve. This is a national direct hit on our energy production.
Especially red states.
Right. And it's going to hit our industries. It's going to hit our manufacturing. All of this stuff that consumes large amounts of energy, large amounts of electricity is going to be impacted. And their cost is going to go up. And so, overall, it really does hurt the nation's industry and manufacturing, power production and all. And it gives the opportunity for another country to step in there and take these plants and take this manufacturing from us. And especially here in Alabama, we are moving heavily into the automobile and the manufacturing areas. It's going to affect these plants. It's going to affect the cost of energy. And so we are involved. We are trying our best to go in there and fight for coal. I'm not going to be bashful about that. We're going to fight. Coal is cheap. Coal allows us to produce cheap energy.
We have it here.
It's our
natural resource.
I'm going to use my colleague, Commissioner Baker's. It's a natural God-given source that we have,
right.
And we can use it. Let's use what we've got. I'm not one of these out here that, sit back and say, well, we got a whole thing of coal over here. Well, we're not using it. We're not able to use Alabama coal anymore in our plants. We're having to ship it in from out west. Most of our coal is going to the Gulf and going overseas or going to another country.
What's the reason for that?
Because of the content of the coal, the burn. Exactly.
I did not
so
know
it produces a little bit, what we call a little bit more carbon. So they're trying to get lower carbonated or sulfur-producing coal burning so that it doesn't have to go on all these huge bag houses. Well, this week, we've had the effect already. Gadsden plant, has switched fully from coal now. They're not going to be burning coal. One of our older burning coal plants are not even going to burn it, so they've went to gas. What does this do? Other than raise your electric rates and raise the cost of energy, it's putting people out of jobs. And that's the biggest thing that we do.
Good paying jobs.
Good paying jobs. The coal
especially
industry.
In Walker County, Walker and Jasper.
Coleman in that area.
area.
Yeah. So you're looking at 5,000 directly related coal jobs. In other words, these are the guys, these are the gals that, is directly related to the industry. You take that and you pull that out of our economy, you're affecting our economy close to 10 to 15,000 jobs. Just by the triple, by the triple effect of doing it. So you're taking income from our families, and it's really is a shocking aspect. And I've had the privilege of touring several of our coal plants in Alabama, and they are, these guys are second, third, fourth, and sometimes even fifth generation coal miners. And so you're affecting somebody's way of life, a family's way of life. That's all they've known. It's like going in that farmer and pulling that farm out from underneath him, and you're going, what do I do now? So it's been a huge fight for us, and the commissioners all have been fighting and saying, we can't do it. Nationally, I don't think that the plan is able to be even gone in simply because of the time factors. There's a lot of details, Steve, I can get in on the Clean Power Plant, and I do. I try to go around, but I'm on the national side testifying, and so you see me a lot in Washington. You'll see me around the country, basically saying that this power plan can't go through. If it does, it's going to weaken our country.
Well, you're doing a good job. We appreciate you standing up for Alabama on this issue. Our time's up, Jeremy.
Wow, it goes fast.
Folks, our guest tonight has been Jeremy Oden, our Public Service Commissioner, place number 1. We thank Jeremy for being with us. We thank you, viewers, for watching Alabama Politics. Hope you tune in again next week. Thank you.
This has been Alabama Politics with